It's Wednesday, January 20th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with today's latest local news. Jim Cameron will be talking transportation later in the show. Rob Adams will bring us sports news and a look at the forecast, which many in the region are keeping an eye on now. And of course, Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, on to some of the stories we're following today. A young woman who died this past weekend in an ATV accident in North Haven was a 2010 graduate of Platt Technical School, and a former school official described her as a bright and shining light. The Hartford Courant identified the woman as 23-year-old Catherine Diaz of West Haven. According to a report from North Haven Police, on Sunday, January 17th at about 1 in the afternoon, North Haven police officers, Wallingford Fire Department personnel, and North Haven Fire Department personnel responded to Dodge Avenue in North Haven for a report of an ATV crash. Investigating officers found a husband and wife were riding their ATVs in a wooded area near the North Haven and Wallingford town line while riding near 100 Dodge Avenue. Diaz reportedly struck a tree, resulting in severe injuries. Paramedics treated her at the scene and transported her to an area hospital where she eventually succumbed to her injuries. Former Platt principal Jean Laporta remembered Diaz fondly and said she was an outstanding student, a bright and shining light. She was an honors student, a track star, and came from a wonderful family, according to Laporta. But you can get more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And in some other Milford news, 2 animals were rescued from a house fire in Milford last night. At about 8 o'clock Tuesday, Milford firefighters were on the scene of a working basement fire in a residential home at 22 Camden Street. 2 dogs and a cat were rescued from the home by firefighters. The cat was administered oxygen at the scene and taken to Shoreline Animal Hospital, according to Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi. No people were reported injured in the fire. The cause is currently under investigation by the Fire Marshal's Division. And Bridgeport emergency responders pulled 4 children and an adult from a wrecked vehicle Tuesday evening, according to Hearst, Connecticut media. Emergency responders had to use tools to extricate the youngsters and 1 woman from a car at Chopsey Hill Road and Woodrow Avenue. Dispatch reports first marked the collision shortly before 9 at night on Tuesday. Giannotti said the occupants of the vehicle were all taken to Bridgeport Hospital. As of 9:20, the accident investigators were still at the scene. And according to the Valley Independent Sentinel, an Ansonia High student was reported to police and federal law enforcement in October after allegedly pledging support to ISIS during the school's Pledge of Allegiance. The incident came to light this month during a Board of Education meeting at which the student's parents denied the allegation and complained that the student had been separated from his classmates. Superintendent Carol Merlone declined to comment on the matter on January 14th, referring a reporter to the school's district lawyer who wouldn't say much other than school officials referred the child to law enforcement out of an abundance of caution. In the meantime, the student has had no run-ins with the law and there is no threat, officials said. Mayor David Cassetti told the Valley Indy that there is absolutely no danger to the school committee. He said anything like that is alarming, so it needed to be brought to the attention of Homeland Security. That's all that was about. He said the schools were just following the proper protocol. The parent of the student declined to talk to the Valley Indy. Ansonia Police Lieutenant Andrew Coda said the incident happened in October but did not have the precise date. You can get more on that story at valleyindy.org. And Lucretia Veloz of Stamford has claimed the $1 million winnings from a Powerball ticket that was sold in Old Greenwich on January 13th. Veloz had one of $3 million tickets sold in Connecticut that day. Her Quick Pick ticket matched the first 5 winning numbers drawn, but missed the Powerball number. Glenn Scally, the owner of Groceries Express, which sold the winning ticket, told the Connecticut Lottery, "That's fantastic news. We're very happy that one of our customers was lucky enough to win $1 million. It's great to see." According to ConnecticutLottery.org, Grocery Express will receive a $2,500 check for selling the ticket. So congratulations to her. And in New Canaan, the building tucked in behind Town Hall near Main Street and Elm Street businesses is coming to new life as the Hub, a multifaceted community facility with the advantages of its in-town location. A plan being launched now by a board of directors of New Canaan residents calls for an anchor tenant to occupy the building, formerly the Outback Teen Center, Monday through Friday during the day in service to persons with developmental disabilities. Supplemental use by various fee-paying entities offering services to other sections of the community at other times is also part of the plan. The building is owned by a nonprofit corporation and it sits on town land. First Selectman Rob Malazzi and Town Council Chairman Bill Walbert have been participating with the board in the planning process. Board President Bob Alba said the Hub is a centerpiece for in-town activities that can benefit every adult and child. Continuing to operate under the same nonprofit corporation that constituted the Outback, the Hub has a signed agreement with their anchor tenant, Albilis, in Greenwich and Stamford that serves persons with developmental disabilities. Albilis supports persons with special needs across their lifespan, but their plan for the Hub is to serve particularly those who are over the age of 21 years. The agency provides programs and life skills training to persons with developmental disabilities so they're able to do more in the community. But we're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for a look at today's weather. Rob, the forecast is causing a lot of conversation right now.
Well, the weather not frightful just yet, Kate, but it will be, at least in theory, this weekend. We still have more details about that to work out, but let's go with the here and now. Today, a mostly sunny day, a high near 33. Wind chill's not as bad today, 20 to 25, northwest wind 6 to 9. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low 21. The wind, no problem. It's calm northwest after midnight. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 32, wind chills again between 15 and 25. Thursday night, mostly cloudy, low 15. Friday, increasing clouds, high near 31. Friday night, a chance of snow as of right now. That is mainly after midnight, but the talk of the storm is that it's beginning to slow up. Apparently, it wanted to grab a bite to eat somewhere over the Rockies. We're not quite sure yet, but in any event, it's slowing up a little bit. But again, this can change course. We're not going to try to play meteorologist here. We're just giving you what we've heard, that it looks like it could change course. But we'll see. The models are all still being flushed out at this time. So it's a chance of snow as of right now from the National Weather Service, mainly after midnight. Snow likely on Saturday. We've got a cloudy day, high near 30 and blustery. Saturday night, snow likely, cloudy, low around 22. We're not going to give you, amounts right now because, again, this could all shift around over the next, say, 24 to 48 hours. Sunday, chance of snow before noon, mostly sunny, and a high near 34. Bottom line is, we're going to keep an eye on it. So, around the region at this time, Darien has 32, Trumbull has 30, and right here in Shelton, it's 34 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Ang takes a look back on this day in history. Rob has the latest sports news, and we have some more headlines coming up on your coffee break after this.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
It's the new year. The to-do list is long and it's easy to feel pulled in many directions at once. Your professional personal shoppers at Walter Stewart's are ready to check groceries off your list by shopping for you. Save extra time this year and spend it doing more important things. Great food and wine delivered to your home with the same-day service. Shop Stewart's online at stewartsmarket.com.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network. Hi, I'm...
And we're back on this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. It's January 20th. Donald Eng is now going to take a look back on this day in history.
Well, Kate, 2 events that coincidentally happened within about an hour of each other are forever to be linked in history. But first, we go all the way back to 1265, the first English Parliament to include not only lords, but also representatives of the major towns holds its first meeting in the Palace of Westminster, which is now known as the Houses of Parliament. Look at those halberds there. Wouldn't it be great if we could have those in Congress? 1783, the Kingdom of Great Britain signs a peace treaty with France and Spain, officially ending hostilities in the American Revolutionary War, also known as the War of Independence. Under the treaty, the 3 nations swapped numerous territories in India and the Caribbean and agreed to hold no hard feelings toward each other for the 4 years of war they just fought. The nations would remain at peace all the way until 1793, when they then re-engaged in war for another 21 years. To 1841 we go. After the First Opium War, the British occupy Hong Kong Island. Virtually uninhabited and completely unsuitable for agriculture, the island does have one of the world's greatest natural harbors and made an ideal trade port for goods to and from the Chinese mainland. By the time the British returned the island to China in 1997, the population had grown from 3,000 to more than 7 million. It looks considerably different now. 1920. The American Civil Liberties Union is founded, dedicated to the protection of constitutional rights for all Americans. My favorite historical ACLU action, when the group sued the state of Florida, demanding a Christian organization be allowed to organize a protest march against the ACLU. And finally now we go to 1981 for this.
Day one of Ronald Reagan's presidency, and day one of freedom for 52 Americans. Though thousands of miles apart, these 2 historic events moved almost on parallel tracks today. The new president had not been in office an hour when the former hostages became free men and women again. And they are well along now on their trip to West Germany and eventually to home. For the latest on their return to freedom, here is Peter Jennings in West Germany. Peter?
Frank, the Algerian 727 carrying the freed hostages left Athens about 1 hour ago. It's now over the Mediterranean. It was on the ground 90 minutes for refueling. No one disembarked. The American ambassador to Greece, Bob McCloskey, did not go on board, but he did send some flowers on board, and he got a note back from his old friend Bruce Langan, who said, "I am very glad to be finally going home." It is about a 3-hour flight from Athens to Algiers, where the former captives should arrive about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've seen only 2...
It was on this day 60 American diplomats and citizens released from captivity after 444 days. The event had solidified the authority of the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran. It had also weakened President Jimmy Carter's image at home, and the nightly updates of the hostage crisis eventually became the basis for the standalone news show Nightline. With your look back in history, I am Donald Eng.
All right, thank you so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today, a heartwarming story from the Reading pilot. When World War II veteran Alexander Savchin lost insurance on his Great Meadow Road home, the company gave him a list of costly tasks like replacing the entire roof to complete before he could get his insurance back. The 89-year-old Reading resident who has lived in the same home for 50 years was unsure how he was going to cover the $42,000 cost of replacing his roof until an organization called Purple Heart Homes stepped in. Letting veterans age in place is a primary goal of Purple Heart Homes. According to its website, the organization looks to restore dignity and quality of life for veterans by creating safe, barrier-free environments. And so volunteers congregated at Savchin's home on Thursday, January 14th to replace his roof, haul the old materials away, and provide a selfless service for a veteran in need. Savchin served in the United States in the Air Force during World War II from 1944 to 1949. He worked his way up to the rank of first lieutenant. He received aviation training as a young cadet and was eventually trained to be a fighter pilot on several different aircrafts. You can get a lot more on that great story at thereadingpilot.com. But it is time now to throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at local sports. Rob?
All right, Kate, thanks very much. We have some late breaking news from Hartford regarding the Yard Goats. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, here in the local scene, high school sports, the Wilton High boys basketball team saw its 6-game winning streak end with an 84-48 overtime loss to Fairfield Ward Tuesday night. Matt Cronenberg led the Warriors with 21 points and 5 assists. Jack Williams finished with 14 points and 6 boards, while Sean Breslin added 12 points, going 4 of 6 from downtown. Marcel Parsons led Ward with 22, followed by Chris Smaldone and J.J. Conway with 18 points each. As you take a look at the scoreboard, West Hill over Trinity Catholic 52-45. Greenwich a 1-point win over Staples. Jack Moore had 30 for the Eagles. They beat the Rams. Trumbull a 67-61 win over New Canaan. Stamford by 11 over Darien. And how about Ridgefield? That is an accurate score. Ridgefield by 23 over the formerly unbeaten McMahon Senators. 31 points for Chris Long of Ridgefield. McMahon loses for the first time. Danbury over St. Joseph 78-62. The girls basketball, Stamford over Darien 45-41. It was Norwalk beating Central 56-34. Ridgefield all over McMahon 78-24. West Hill takes care of Trinity Catholic 54-28. Shania Osborne had 27 points. Fairfield Ward over Wilton 45-43. Shannon Grabowski had 12 points for the Cadets as they beat Danbury 41-34. It was Greenwich over Staples 71-25, and Trumbull beat New Canaan 51-13. Finally in wrestling, Norwalk got a 3-point win over Wilton. The Hartford Yard Goats just announced at a Wednesday morning press conference that they will open their new stadium, Dunkin' Donuts Park, on May 31st. Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin said that a deal is being worked out that will bridge a $10.4 million gap, as you got to look at their somewhat horrifying mascots. We'll talk about them more, the Yard Goats, a little bit more on Nutmeg Sports later on. Excited for the new Yard Goats and more, but again, we'll give you more thoughts and opinion on that later on. That's the proper forum for it. To the schedule we go. Central and Norwalk in boys basketball later on, and girls basketball, Central at Harding. And some of this is to make up for, schedule oddities at this time, plus the weather. And there are some changes going on. Get to that in a moment. But let's deal with Wednesday first. Boys ice hockey. You've got Darien and St. Joe's at the rinks at Shelton. Wait, Darien and St. Joe's? Yes. Two of the best in the FCAC, two of the best in the state right now. The rinks at Shelton, 6:30 tonight. We have the call for you right here on the HAN network. We also have Joel Barlow at Brookfield Bethel Danbury at 6:40. West Hill Stamford at Trinity Catholic at Terry Connors Rink. Norwalk McMahon takes on Sheehan. Staples West and Shelton hosting the Fairfield Ward Ludlow Co-op. And New Canaan takes on Ridgefield at the Winter Garden. That becomes a little more of an intriguing game now. Ridgefield scuffling, and all of a sudden New Canaan starting to climb back up. That's later tonight. Also, girls ice hockey. Trumbull and Ridgefield at the Winter Garden, so they've got a little bit of a matinee and then a later game. Long day there at the Winter Garden, 3:30 and 8:30 for the girls and boys games. New Canaan and Stamford West Hill Staples, SWS, as A.J. Simonowski and I have discussed, at the Terry Connors Rink. It's Darien and Ludlow, Greenwich at Wilton. From wrestling, a large slate, West Hill at Danbury, Ludlow home for McMahon, Greenwich at Ridgefield, Central at Staples, Trumbull at Stamford, Ward at New Canaan. Boys swimming and diving, you've got West Hill Stamford Branford at New Canaan, Darien at Greenwich, and the Fairfield Co-op at Trumbull. Ridgefield is at Staples, and McMahon Norwalk is at Shelton. So plenty to do on Nutmeg Sports today. Dave Stewart will be in for his Wednesday appearance, and then off for hockey later on today. We'll see. Darien, a big win on Monday against Greenwich when they shut out the number one team in the state, the Greenwich Cardinals, 3-0. Now can St. Joe's hang with the revitalized Blue Wave? We'll find out. 6:30 tonight, Nutmeg Sports at 2. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. We're going to step out for a quick break. When we come back, Jim Cameron is talking transportation. We also have some breaking transportation news out of Hartford that we're going to get to when we come back after this.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
Find over 1,000 special stories at Hospital for Special Surgery. Go to hss.edu/backinthegame.
I was jogging 5 months after my cartilage tear.
Skiing a year after hip surgery.
And playing grandma 4 weeks after hip replacement.
One special hospital, 1,000 special stories. See Connecticut patients at hss.edu/CT.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
You are watching the HAN network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
You ever see those bumper stickers on cars that say, "Slow down in town"? Pretty useless, but not a bad idea. I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation, commentary and analysis on getting around in Connecticut. Those bumper stickers are often futile attempts to encourage speeding motorists to be more respectful of the neighborhoods they zoom through, especially watching out for pedestrians. I wouldn't call it exactly road rage, but why is it that when you're behind the wheel, your goal is always to get down the road as fast as traffic will allow, the speed limit be damned? Of course, in our own neighborhoods, our interests are reversed. We curse those idiots who speed down local streets, ignoring those cute signs that say, "Drive like your kids lived here." Well, increasingly, local neighborhoods are serving as shortcuts around clogged arterial streets that spreads out the traffic into our sleepy, bucolic burbs. But there is a way to enforce the speed limits without radar traps. It's what traffic engineers call traffic calming. You might not know that one of the first cities in the U.S. to develop a master plan for neighborhood traffic calming was Hartford, and the second city will be Stanford. Work also underway in New Canaan and New Haven. And these are more than just speed bumps. Engineers have a whole slew of street redesigns in their repertoire that can force us to reduce our speed. Among them, speed tables. Think of those as extended speed bumps with a 6-foot-long ramp up, a 10-foot-long table, and then a 6-foot-long ramp down. How about roundabouts? Small traffic circles with landscaping at the center make us slow down as we go around them, eventually making a right turn to continue our journey. Then there are what are called chicanes. These are the stubby picket fence-like mini roadblocks seen on some private streets. Alternating their placement on the right and then the left side of the road forces drivers to make a zigzag maneuver down the street. The same effect can be achieved by placing parking spaces alternately on the right and the left. There are also things called bulb outs or neck downs. These are extensions of the sidewalk into car parking areas at corner crossings. Again, you gotta slow down. Sidewalks. It's amazing how many of our communities lack these pedestrian amenities, forcing the hoofers to compete for space on the asphalt with cars. Sidewalks get pedestrians out of the traffic and encourage us to walk and just leave the car at home. Crosswalks. There's a concept. A place where pedestrians have the right of way over cars, sometimes even mid-block and without the need for stop signs or red lights. You gotta slow down. Roadblocks and mazes. Now, these were inspired by some anti-crime efforts in drug-dealing neighborhoods. Some call it crime calming, making it hard for drive-through drug buyers to find their way in and out of a neighborhood. Local residents know how to maneuver the maze, but casual shortcutters won't try it again. Of course, all of these traffic calming techniques assume that the major traffic arterials where the cars belong can be kept flowing with their own traffic tricks. Otherwise, you're just spreading the gridlock into the neighborhoods. This is Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
Thanks as always to Jim Cameron for his insight. And now getting back to some news today, this just out from the Hartford Courant. Andres Ayala Jr. has submitted his resignation as the State Department of Motor Vehicles Commissioner after a nightmarish year of problems, including snafus with a new computer system, a tripling of wait time for DMV customers, erroneous revocation of drivers' vehicle registrations, and the release of false information to the public. Sources told the Courant that Ayala Tuesday night submitted notice to the office of Governor Daniel P. Malloy that he was resigning effective Friday, little more than a year after Malloy named the 46-year-old former social studies teacher and one-term Democrat state senator from Bridgeport as his first Latino commissioner. At the time that Malloy said that Ayala was a barrier breaker, on Wednesday morning, Malloy's office declined to comment on the resignation. And in Milford, a man arrested for allegedly stealing items from a homeowner's shed explained that he was taking scrap metal, and it's what he does. According to an incident report, police were called to a home on High Street January 18th around 9:50 in the morning on a report of a burglary in process. The homeowner told police he saw a man taking things from the shed. When police arrived, they reportedly found 69-year-old Carnell Edwards of New Haven. When asked what he was doing, Edwards responded, quote, "taking scrap metal. It's what I do," according to the police report. Edwards was charged with burglary 3rd degree, larceny 6th degree, and criminal trespass. He was held on police custody in lieu of $5,000. And recapping a couple of the stories we're following today, a young woman who died this past weekend in an ATV accident in North Haven was a 2010 graduate of Platt Technical School, and a former school official described her as a bright and shining light. The woman has been identified as 23-year-old Catherine Diaz of West Haven. According to a report from the North Haven Police on January 17th at 1 in the afternoon, North Haven Police and emergency officials responded to Dodge Avenue in North Haven for a report of an ATV crash. Investigating officers found a husband and wife were riding their ATVs in a wooded area near the North Haven line. While riding near 100 Dodge Avenue, Diaz reportedly struck a tree, resulting in severe injuries. Paramedics treated her at the scene and transported her to an area hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. Former Platt principal Jean Laporta remembered Diaz fondly and said she was an outstanding student and a bright and shining light. She said she was an honor student, a track star with a wonderful family. And there's more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And in some other Milford news, 2 animals were rescued from a house fire in Milford last night. Just after 8 o'clock Tuesday, Milford firefighters were on the scene of a working basement fire in a home at 22 Camden Street. 2 dogs and a cat were rescued from the home by Milford firefighters. The cat was administered oxygen at the scene and taken to Shoreline Animal Hospital, according to Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi. No people were reportedly injured in the fire. The cause is currently under investigation. Going to throw it back over to Rob Adams for one final look at today's weather. Rob?
All right, Kate, we're not going to spend much time at all on the storm. We'll give you what we have for now from the National Weather Service, but again, just from what I've been reading and following with others, it doesn't seem like we need to discuss the storm just yet because there's just too many factors to consider. So here's what we have. Mostly sunny day today, high 33, wind chill values from 20 to 25, wind not a big problem. Tonight mostly cloudy, low 21. For Thursday, mostly sunny, high 32. Thursday night, mostly clear, a low around 15. Friday, the clouds begin to increase. We have a high near 31. Now, a chance of snow is listed right now from the National Weather Service for after midnight on Friday night, cloudy, low 21. Saturday, snow seems likely, cloudy day, 30 for the high, but blustery conditions Saturday and Saturday night where the low will be 22. To Sunday, still a chance of more snow hanging around, mostly sunny otherwise, a high near 34. So again, this is all going to develop and probably, hopefully by tomorrow, definitely Friday, we'll have a feel for all of this. But around the region right now, Darien at 32, Trumbull, you stay at 30, and Shelton right here, 34 degrees. We'll see you for Nutmeg later on, and then hockey after that, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. And coming up at 12:30, we're excited. We're premiering a brand new show, CT Pulse, hosted by myself and Josh Fisher. It's going to be focusing on politics, all things trending in the Constitution state. We were able to speak with U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal earlier this week. He was gracious enough to stop by. We talked gun control, Iran sanctions, and a lot more. So please check that out coming up at 12:30. That's going to do it for this edition of Your Coffee Break. We'll be back tomorrow at 11.